Hyde Park was originally a space for collecting firewood and grazing animals in 1792 when it was established, and throughout the 1800s it was used for horse racing and cricket matches, almost sold off for housing in the 1830s. As major buildings were starting to go up and surrounding the site, its significance as an open natural space grew of importance. Within the 1850s it started to become a more natural parkland with the addition of grass, trees, pathways and public monuments. As time progressed, it grew into a space that was designed to be a park, through Norman Weeks designing the current layout of the pathways in 1926 to create an effective and a cohesive parkland. The bigger changes were the monuments, which were created within the 1930s, the Archibald Fountain in 1932, and the Anzac Memorial in 1934. Overall, the park slowly progressed into what it is today, but it has always remained a space to disengage with the city atmosphere. Today, it is still that space, a place to appreciate the natural world inside the heart of a concrete world. The site itself was very large and situated in a position that stands out amongst surroundings. Spanning about 16 hectares in size, it's situated in the heart of the CBD, only metres from the Royal Botanic Gardens and right next to popular spaces such as Westfields and Sydney Museum. A north section and a south section divided by Park Street that almost evenly divides the two sections. The park is shaped in a basic fashion with multiple sub-pathways leading to the two monuments on each section, with one main strip that kind of divides through the middle, and it's littered with outdoor lighting and large warm-day figs that sort of provide a canopy over the pathway. The bounding areas surrounding the space are basically the streets that surround the parkland itself, such as Liverpool Street, College Street, Elizabeth Street, St James Road, and Park Street, which is the street that divides the two sections. The memorial sits within the south end of the park and is a heavy renovation, and there's always a major Anzac ceremony that is held annually there. The north end features are rounded to complement the radial-shaped Archibald Fountain that attracts many tourists taking pictures every day, constantly, which also provides the best view to St Mary's Cathedral. There is also a cafe located on the north end, on the west side opposite David Jones, and there are 3 toilet facilities placed along varying points of the many entry and exit points, but the main sections include entry points from Park Street Divide and the War Memorial exit on South End opposite Hyde Park Medical Centre on Liverpool Street. And finally the west entrance and north end, which is situated next to St James Station. Hyde Park is officially a heritage listed site and is completely maintained by state and local government. These are City of Sydney and the Land and Property Management Authority. The primary use of Hyde Park from the majority of people is simply an area to pass through towards another destination. And through analysis, the only people using the pathways for the enjoyment of the park were tourists and joggers. The types of interactions people had with the devices actually vary between different environments. As for the main walkway, most people were either talking on their phone or listening to music through their earphones. Most people were still visually engaged with their environment as they weren't looking at their phone whilst walking. Whereas at the fountain, people were using their device to engage with the environment. And this is significant as they're using technology to capture a moment of the physical landscape surrounding them, demonstrating that they aren't just purely fixated on their devices. And finally, at the bus stop, it was a complete opposite again. This time with a bland and plain simple environment. As people were waiting for their bus, they were completely engaged with their device, disengaged from the environment, therefore proving that the environment plays a big impact on how an individual will interact with their device simply based on surroundings. Although in the end, technology has become, as Kurt Iveson puts it, essential tools for everyday life. And so that as we use technology and as we continue to fixate our minds on it, we are performing digital labor.
Through using NodeXL, we were able to analyze the Twitter network in relation to Hyde Park, such as to where the hotspots of activity were within the area. When we searched Hyde Park, Sydney in the Twitter search network over several weeks, we noticed that the majority of activity for the location was based around events that were occurring on site. We can see in this graph that the majority of people within a week were all responding to one main source. This is the Wear It Purple event, organised by New South Wales Police. This created a social environment for people to come to. After visiting events, it was observed that the majority of people were commuting face-to-face, not distracted by digital devices. However, the few people that were using their phones were either filming or taking photos of the event. While visiting Hyde Park, we found that some areas had higher levels of activity than others. This was mainly found along the footpaths that crossed the Fountain and Anzac Memorial. These were pathways that mainly obtained only people who were just passing through. The fountain had a high level of activity due to the several pathways leading to one place. We found this was a hotspot area to observe people's behaviours in relation to technology. We observed one man take a longer route to reach the same destination, as opposed to cutting across on the shortcut pathway. This demonstrated how people can easily miss the environment around them when distracted by their technology. We also observed another person who walked in a complete circle in one spot while looking down at the screen in their hand. This made the person look very disorientated. We also recorded some statistics. We counted the number of people that entered the footpath that surrounded the fountain and recorded down whether they had visible technology on them or not. Looking at the results, we found out that the majority of people did not have visible technology on them. However, there was still around 25% of people that did have visible technology. There was a group of people playing a large chess game. This was a non-digital interactive activity. This activity drew people away from their digital devices to actually look up and watch the game play out in front of them. As you can see, there's also a man on the left sitting on this park bench. While his phone is in his hand, he's looking up at the game in front of him. This has drawn his attention away from the mobile device, and he's actually engaged in what is happening in front of him in the environment. There is also a crowd of people on the right all watching the game, and none of them have their phones in their hand. This is a good example of a non-digital interactive activity, and that it is possible to draw people away from mobile devices or other digital technologies.
What were our experiences within Hyde Park?